I'm Jerry Purvis for StarHerald.com. Welcome to another edition of Table Talk. Our guest today is Keith Ellis, the Community and Economic Development Director with TCD, Twin Cities Development. Good morning, Keith, and thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, Jerry. Thanks for having me in for this.
To start with, tell us a little bit about your earlier background in the community and with the chamber and other areas where you were involved.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I came here in 1991 as the chamber exec for the Scottsbluff-Garion United Chamber of Commerce. Actually, I was with the chamber for about 7-8 years, and then I had the opportunity to move over to the Nebraska Public Power District in their business office, and I was their team leader and then account manager and did economic development for Nebraska Public Power District, retiring after 20 years in 2017. And had an opportunity after retired. I had a call with Rhonda, and Rhonda said, well, I have an opening out here to do economic development, and I thought, I'm just too young to not be doing anything, so I took her up on her opportunity to come out here and get back into the community. And when I was with Nebraska Public Power District, I worked here in Scottsbluff, Gering, then I worked in South Sioux City, Nebraska, and then I worked in Lincoln, Nebraska over that 20-year period of time with promotions along the way. So, but it's good to be back home. That's what I tell people. Mm-hmm. This is home for me, and this is where we raised our kids, and this is our home. So,
yeah. So how did that come about? If your decision to come back and the call that you had talked with Rhonda.
Timing is everything,
mm-hmm.
And so when we had our visit on the phone, she just talked about what was needed here, and that they had this opening, and with my background and with my ability to already know the culture and the business community and the players in the community, that I had an opportunity to come right in and hit the ground running, and hopefully that's what I've done.
Okay, what are some of your duties with TCD?
Well, my main opportunities that I am responsible for are the economic development side of our Twin Cities development. Rhonda is on the workforce housing. She leads all of our workforce housing initiatives, and I lead all the economic development initiatives, and I always say it in terms of, so people can understand, there are 4 pillars for economic development. Those are workforce development, workforce housing, lead generation, business retention and expansion, and entrepreneurship. And so that's basically the 4 key areas of our work that we focus on. And as I try to describe, when people say, well, what does that mean? What do you do? And I said, well, our primary function is we're really a marketing agency. We market our economic development assets, our sites and buildings, our community, our leadership, and the opportunities we have here for businesses and site consultants to make a decision to come to our community with a new business, and more importantly, to be a marketing agent for existing businesses to help them with workforce development, finding new innovative ways to attract a new labor market and an expanded labor market, which is some of what we're doing with our Pier 7 initiative now. So,
okay. Tell us a little more about the Pier 7 initiative.
Sure, that came about through a year-long process. We had a workforce CEO summit. We had 3 summits led by John Massey and Steve Olson, who are, I think, real genuine leaders in our community. And they led this process. We had over 65 businesses participate in our workforce CEO summits. And with the culmination of those summits, as well as TCD initiated business roundtable luncheons last year, and we had over 30 participating businesses in the roundtable luncheons. And it's all about input. It was all about listening and understanding what is important for our business community and workforce, not assuming. From our perspective, we didn't want to assume what the issues were. We wanted to learn and understand from them what the key issues are in our community. And the outcome of that process was an employer education partnership through Pier 7 and I didn't bring all the information on that, but basically Pier 7 is an employer education partnership in our community to bring workforce initiatives to a higher level of success, whether it's working with Western Nebraska Community College to bring more employers to the table for their programs and services that they offer, and to be a broker is what the terminology that came out of the Pier 7 was, that we would be a broker to help sustain employers to utilize the services. And that's just not with the college, but also we want to work with Eastern Wyoming Community College, which we will be having conversations with them to include them in that as well, plus all of our area public schools as well. Whether it's the career academies, the career pathways, or even as an example with Bayard High School, working with them on getting opportunities for those students to expand their understanding of business and the opportunities that they might have. So,
okay. So what do you see as some of the big challenges for that we face as a smaller community?
well, the number one challenge is workforce. Obviously, that's what we focused a year on, to be able to understand and to become aggressive in our workforce development. And those things, so what are the outcomes of that? What are the challenges? Well, first of all, we need to expand our labor market into the Front Range of Colorado. Right now, we're at about a 8-county, 92,000 population labor market. By expanding to the Front Range of Colorado, we get over 250,000 people in our labor market. And so the understanding of that is not just the numbers. The understanding of that is there are a number of people that move to the big cities that have roots in rural Nebraska, western Nebraska, that have that understanding, that culture that we have here. Well, we have a campaign that we're going to be doing called Bring 'Em Home, working through the schools, alumni associations, and our marketing department to be able to attract those people back home, either bringing their families back so grandpa and grandma can be closer to them, those kinds of things. And then as well to be able to, as an example with the Front Range, one of the things that we've already started working on with the University of Nebraska Panhandle Research Center is to have a Western Nebraska Innovation Campus. That's not clearly defined, but we are starting to have conversations with the university on this, and we've had Michelle Coolidge in our office is leading that initiative, and she's had a couple meetings already, and things are, at least they're starting out with a positive dialogue about it, some opportunities. So the point is that what we want to do is bring some of that technology innovation from the Front Range, whether it's through people that have that association with rural western Nebraska or otherwise, to be able to use our innovation campus out here at the University of Western Nebraska Innovation Campus, to be able to use that technology entrepreneurship to develop new businesses in the technology area. That's one of the other initiatives. We continue to have ongoing lead generation for what we do. We presently have a list of 8,000 businesses in California, Oregon, and Washington that are, we have a list of these businesses, and we use high school interns that actually do the business research behind the scenes to be able to get the targeted CEOs or plant managers, the main contacts for that company, and then we do a nurture marketing campaign. We start with email marketing, and then we do phone call follow-ups, and then once we get a relationship established, that's what's called nurturing, then we start prompting more insight into getting them here to do a site visit. And so, plus we won't do 8,000 companies, we'll do about half that when we start filtering them down into our target industries. And our target industries are advanced manufacturing, health services, some data centers now are in our range as well as transportation, logistics, and warehousing. You know, we have the Gehring Industrial Site, which is a really excellent an industrial site. And we market that all the time with our nurture marketing. And we have other buildings. Paul Reed's got an outstanding building in the south of the Lockwood building that we market. We market Joe Shawn's Agramac building all the time, and so then we have some other sites that we also market. But the primary markets are when we have such a wonderful industrial site at Gehring that we try to use that as our kind of our kingpin on the sites, and then we use Agramac and Paul Reed building for the other on the building side. So, but that's our lead generation part of it, and with the other part of our initiatives in lead generation is we've done I think a pretty strong startup for the hemp industry in our area. We have an awareness campaign that Carrie Heimbuck in our office, our marketing specialist, leads the hemp industry awareness, and we also have a group that meets that deals with critical issues for hemp industry startup with the state, whether it's the State Department of Agriculture, Economic Development, any of the state departments that have any impact on the decision-making process for in hemp industry startups. And we're starting to get inquiries now with investors that want to invest in it, even some inquiries for doing a processing plant here. We actually have a list of 25 processing plant companies that from around the United States and Canada that we have started communications with them on just making them aware of the opportunity that is available here. So we try to do as many different things as possible to the process is we can provide information and contacts, and then those investors or those prospects, they need to take the initiative, and then we do the follow-up to actually sell our community for it. But that's our process on the hemp industry side. Mm-hmm. So we work extremely in a great partnership with Senator Stinner's office in Lincoln and the University of Nebraska and the Hain family with Western Farms is how we've started our business startups. And so
okay. So how does the importance of retail in the overall mix when you're talking about more kind of medium industry is good fits here?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought retail up. We about a year ago now we were having conversations with commercial property owners and retailers in our community, especially when we had all of the negative stuff coming out about the closures at that time. And there really wasn't anybody in the community that was actually doing much retail recruitment. I know the city of Scottsbluff Star does some of that work as well. I know that the mall, they have their own property recruitment, prospect recruitment through the mall. But we took the initiative, because no one else was really stepping up to do it, to have a marketing campaign and a inventory of commercial and retail businesses throughout the region, not just Scottsbluff, Gehring, but Mitchell, Morrill, Bayard, Bridgeport, Minutair, so that we can have an inventory of all of those commercial properties. The next step is that we are going to be doing this spring is to do retail gap analysis. Basically what that is a study of how and what are the best fits for a community, for a specific location, because of traffic flows, type of building, the level of support from the community for that kind of a business. Does it complement other businesses that are already in the community? What are the needed businesses, retail businesses in the community that we have gaps? That's what I call it, the gap analysis. Mm-hmm. And so we have taken the initiative to spearhead that. And we actually have 3 interns from Gering High School that will be starting next week, and one of them specifically will be working on the marketing of the retail properties and doing the retail gap analysis. And so we utilize high school interns. This is my 3rd year of using them. We've used both Scottsbluff High School and Gering High School in the past for our interns. We actually had 4 interns last semester from Scottsbluff High School. This spring, we'll have 3 interns from Gering High School, and hopefully I'm having conversations with Bayard High School to maybe have 2 interns from Bayard High School to do all of our business research for our lead generation. And so we have a real small staff, Jerry. It's really hard. We have just the Pier 7 projects alone. We have 26 initiatives just with the Pier 7, with all the different work that we're doing just in that area alone. And so we use high school interns. We treat them as professionals, and they get the work done. And we've just had outstanding success with our interns program. And so we're anxious to get going this spring semester with the Gering High School interns, and hopefully from Bayard as well.
Now, one of the unfortunate memes that we often hear is Nebraska's largest import is its young people. So what does education play in growing our own workforce and keeping our young people
Boy,
here?
you hit it right on the head. It's growing our own. And we are a community in an area that has an opportunity that some areas don't, because we have the Western Nebraska Community College, we have Eastern Wyoming Community College, we have the Gering and High School career academies, and we have some outstanding schools in our region that do some amazing. I took a tour of Bayard schools a month and a half ago, and they have some amazing things they're doing at Bayard High School for their students, and there's other schools that are doing very similar things. And so what we're trying to do is, the focus has been on, as a community, and somewhat of a complaint is that we have all these students that are going off to college, and we focus on getting those kids to college, whether it's Western Nebraska Community College, Eastern Wyoming, or into the university or state college system. But we have never really had a conversation about, and a focus of the kids that graduate from our schools locally that stay here. And that's what Twin Cities Development is doing with Pier 7, is a total focus on giving those students the focus that they need, so that they have great opportunities to make a decision to stay here, go to the community college and get advanced skills, but take great jobs here. I mean, these people are the ones that end up being our school board members, our city council members, or these are on all of our community positions, these people that stay here and those that come back here. That's why we have the combination of to grow our own locally, but also bring them home campaign as well.
So overall, what do you see as the future for the area?
The future of our area is based on, we're at a pivotal point, in my opinion. The pivotal point is that we have to balance the success and the support for our existing industries and businesses here, and balance that with the future of skills, jobs, and technology. And so where is that defining line? I don't know if there is. That's a moving target. But to me, as a community, we need to advance the technology perspective of workforce and employers. As an example, I think because of shortages of labor and those kinds of things, and you see it all over the country, more and more robotics in our industries. And I think that that's going to be part of our future here. But with that, you have to have the right kinds of trained, skilled people to run those systems. Mm-hmm. And so I've had interviews when I was on the eastern part of Nebraska with companies that already had made the transition to robotics, and they said they actually, numbers-wise, they actually netted out the same number of people, but they're doing different jobs, and their pay was higher. And so there's a positive side of that robotics, but it's part of the example that we have to have with a balance of taking care of what we have now, continuing to grow what we have now, and then the challenge is to balance that with new technologies, new innovation, and new types of businesses that can come into our community. And we have, with the university, the potential with an innovation campus here, with what we have with our schools. We have so many assets that are already in place that it would be negligent for us to not to advance ourselves in our community to be able to do that.
Keith, thank you for stopping by for this edition of Table Talk.
Thanks, Jerry. It was a pleasure.
I'm Jerry Purvis for StarHerald.com, and thank you for joining us on Table Talk.